Hello, my name is Tim Storey. Welcome to Miracle Mentality.
Remember rooftops, drawing spaceships on the ground.
It's for the dreamers, the doers, the believers in something greater. In each episode, I'll invite you to rise above the mundane, to push past the messy, and learn to live boldly in the miraculous. Every episode will have practical wisdom, spiritual insight, and my guests will explore what it takes to activate your miracle mindset. Remember to subscribe, follow, and like. Welcome to the Miracle Mentality podcast. This is going to be a very, very good episode where I'm going to talk to you about how to turn your setbacks into comebacks. I've been saying this for years, that many times in life, you can have momentum. You have this amazing momentum. And then something will happen in your life that I call a life interruption. Because I life coach people from CEOs, entrepreneurs, Major League Baseball players, football, basketball, soccer players, rugby players, entertainers, people from all walks of life. There's not one person that I know that has not had a life interruption of one form or another in the last 12 months. Because you could have momentum and then something happens. It could be a problem with one of your children. It could be your parents with their aging. It could be your own personal illness. It could be your own mindset. And so what happens is that in this life interruption, people find themselves in a setback. One of the reasons that we do the Miracle Mentality podcast is that it is my goal as a person that has been working with people for over 3 decades to help you to have a comeback, but a comeback and beyond. So to have a comeback is to return to a place of significance. It's not where I want you. I want you to go beyond. So whenever you watch me interview any of my guests, whether it's a scientist, an astronaut, one of our top entertainers, business owners, I want to find out how they went beyond. So that's why we call it the miracle mentality. A miracle is something uncommon, not regular, not normal. All right, so let's go back to this subject of the comeback. So I remember when I was a little kid, we were playing football out in the street. And we'd play touch football because you should not tackle people out in the streets. And I remember one of these kids, there was a friend of mine, said, hey, tomorrow I can't play because I have to go to my uncle's funeral. And I said, well, what happened? He said he died. And I said, how come? He goes, I don't know. He just died. And I remember as a young guy, I didn't really understand this idea that his uncle died. Because, you know, when you're young, you're so alive, unless you hear about a grandparent dying, a relative dying, it's not really something you have on your mind. But I remember him saying this thing about, I cannot play tomorrow because somebody died. So that would be considered a life interruption. So the question is, what has been your life interruption in the last 12 months? What has been your setback? There are 8 buckets of life. Let's go through those. You have your mindset. The mindset is the clarity of your mind and the strength of your mind, okay? Then you have your spiritual life. Number 2, like your connection to God, your connection to, some people call it source. I am a Christian, so I see it more as a connection to God. But other people that watch me, you come from all walks of life. You have your mindset, then you have your spirit. Thirdly, you have your physical body. That's a tricky one because when we were little, man, we had resilience. I mean, you could hit the floor and come back for more. Hit the floor, come back for more. Fall downstairs and still get right back up. But as you get older, even people that are even in their 30s tell me, 40s tell me about this, that many times their body's responding different. So watch this. You have your mindset. These are 8 buckets of your life. Your spirit, your physical body. And then you have, watch, your job or career, number 4. Then you have your finances, number 5. Then you have your relationship with a significant other, whether you're single or in a relationship, that's number 6. Number 7 is your extended family, because that's super, super important, whether that's working or not. And number 8 is your social life. So when I'm life coaching somebody, I may say to a very powerful woman, okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, how are you doing with your children? Because maybe she has 3 children. She might say, Tim, I'm doing a 3 because I'm so busy building this business. I have a lot of guilt. I'm not really spending time with my kids like I'd like to. I may talk to a very powerful man and say, scale of 1 to 10, how are you doing in your relationship to your wife? Because in this case, he's married. And he may say, I'll give it maybe maximum of 4. We used to have date nights. Don't do that anymore. And so what happens is what you find now is that they have a setback in one of the 8 buckets of life. Now, so as you're watching this podcast week after week, and you see all these guests we have, as many as 2 to 3 a week sometimes, notice how I'm talking to people, not just how they started a famous company. Whether I talk to a Phil Knight coming up who has Nike or a Magic Johnson or a Denzel Washington, notice how I'm not going to talk to them just about the obvious things that you know about them. I'm coming in as a trained therapist. I'm coming in as a trained life coach who is trained under one of the greatest therapists and coaches starting back in the 80s who taught at USC. This lady is mind-blowing, and she taught me for 30 years. So I'm coming in on purpose to ask questions about those 8 buckets of life so that you do not sit in your setback, settle in your setback, or cement yourself in the setback. Okay, so let's take inventory on your life right now. Some of you are driving down the road. Some of you are listening to me while you're at the gym. Some of you are watching me on YouTube. However you're taking in this podcast, I want to ask you, out of those 8 buckets of life, what are some of your lower scores? If I was to say on a scale of 1 to 10, where's your mindset? Scale of 1 to 10, where's your physical body? Scale of 1 to 10, how's your relationship with your family? What are those lower scores? And if they're lower, is there a way to make them higher? Well, this is where I come in. This is where an Oprah Winfrey called me the original comeback coach. This is where USA Today called me the comeback coach to the stars. I've been spending my life for 3 decades studying how to turn your setbacks to comebacks, but not just studying it, having results, seeing people get their groove back. How do you get your groove back, Tim Storey? Number 1, you got to sit and you got to get educated. Number 2, you got to stand in what you've learned. Number 3, you got to walk out the principles. There used to be a rap song that said, walk it out, walk it out, walk it out. That's what I teach people. You got to sit, you got to learn, you got to stand in what you've learned, you got to walk it out. When you walk something out, if you are fortunate, you will run. A lot of people that I know, they don't have passion. They don't have passion for life. They don't have passion in their mind. They don't have passion for their kids. They might have passion for maybe a bird they have or a dog that they have. But a lot of people, they've lost their passion. So you sit, you stand, you walk You run. Run is passion. If you could ever get to a passionate life where you're running, not running for a year, but running for a decade, running for 2 decades, running for 3 decades, running for 4 decades, running for your whole life, that's powerful. So in order to do that, you have to understand there's one more level, and that is to soar, S-O-A-R. So you sit, you stand, you walk, you run. Some of you are just happy with running. I'm not. I want to soar. Remember that old song, I want to soar like an eagle? And it's not just soaring like Michael Jordan or soaring like Wayne Gretzky when he played hockey or soaring like Messi. It was great to see Messi play soccer or if from another part of the world, football. I got to see him in a box. I was right on the grass watching everything. I mean, that guy was soaring in the way he played. Now, I believe you can get to the point in your life where you could soar in your mind. You could soar in your spirit, soaring in your soul, soaring with your children, having great moments. A friend of mine, he recently sent me a picture of his little 5-year-old son on a jet ski. And the son was on the jet ski and he was riding his dad. And he was saying to me, basically, Tim, man, this is life. This is life, that it's worth it to work so hard to have these moments with our kids. All right, so we want to get to the point where we soar in life. But let's say you're in a setback right now, which most of you are. What do I do? Well, I said, don't sit, don't settle, don't cement yourself. Here's what you got to do. You have to understand, and I want you to really pay attention to this. Every one of us is going through recovery and discovery at the same time. Recovery means to mend, to restore, and to make good. And you say, Tim, how can you spit out all these facts and you're not even looking at notes? You have to understand, I've been studying this for 30 years. So because we're getting to know each other better on this podcast that I do, I spend 2 hours a day, 7 days a week studying. And I like to memorize things. So I use notes sometimes. And I also like to memorize things. So watch this. You are going through recovery and discovery at the same time. So the question is, what are you recovering from? Are you recovering from somebody passed away, they died in your family? Are you recovering from a job that maybe fired you and it was unwarranted? It should not have happened. Are you recovering because you let yourself down? Are you recovering from addiction? Are you recovering from mental illness? Are you recovering from anxiety, depression? Wow, Tim, you're going in on us. Yeah, that's part of what I do. But I'm not just going to leave you there. I might push some buttons because I want you to get better. But the question is, what are you recovering from? Now, so Tim, what do you know about recovery? Well, I know a lot. I know that my father went to go get my mother food when I was just 10 years of age. It was the days before Uber Eats and DoorDash. He called a restaurant in the city we lived in. He went and drove to get my mother's food. He went through a green light. Green means go. Okay, yellow is caution. And most people slow down and probably stop at caution. Red means stop. A man ran a red light, went all the way through, hit my father, and my father died. So my mother now had to raise 4 of her 5 children working at Winchell's Donut Shop. And then it came to the point where later in life, she had to work a shift and a half, which is 12 hours a day, to try to help support her family. Because it was 4 out of 5, because my older sister was already married. I mean, you guys, that's a setback. That's a setback that you wonder, can you ever recover from? But I will tell you some interesting news. At the time of this taping, my mother is close to 95 years of age. And not only is she 95, but she's somebody that still has joy. She has peace. She made great investments with the money that my father had and that she had. And my mother ended up doing very well in life, but she did not sit, settle, or cement herself in her setback. So what recovery are you going through? Because you go through recovery and also through discovery. I want to make sure you don't get so caught up in the recovery zone that you do not pay attention to your discovery zone. In my notes, I talk about that discovery zone. That discovery zone is a beautiful place to live. Do you know in life, some things you decide and some things you discover? Man, I want you to be so excited about your life in the next few months that everything is not just a decision, but some things are discovery. I remember as a kid, sometimes you wake up, you don't know exactly what you're going to do that day, but you find something wonderful to do. Maybe it was riding bicycles with your friends. I remember we used to go to this place called the Riverbed, and we would chase down little frogs. It's not something I do at this stage of my life, but it was fun when I was a kid. Or I'd find out one of my friends' dads would invite me to a Dodger game, and I didn't know I was going to go to a Dodger game when I woke up, but there I found myself at the Dodger game, sitting in the left field pavilion at 11 years of age, just living my life, not just going through life. Okay? So let's recap this. I don't want you to sit, settle, or cement yourself in a setback. And I don't want you just to have a comeback. I don't want you just to return to a place that you once were. I want you to go beyond the limits, beyond the circumstances, beyond the pain, beyond your survival mode. I want you to keep watching this podcast. I want you to tell people about it. I want you to like, and I want you to subscribe, because we have a movement going on here. We have a movement of people who are going to have a miracle mentality. Again, a miracle mentality is people like you that think extraordinary, uncommon, not normal. That's who you are meant to be. Like and subscribe. Make sure and follow me on LinkedIn. Make sure and follow me on Instagram. We have over 3 million people on Instagram alone. If you want some personal feedback, DM me on Instagram. You'll be surprised at all the people that I get back to. So life is good. Don't ever put yourself down. You may not be what you want to be, but thank God you're not what you used to be. Thank you for sharing space with me on this episode of Miracle Mentality with Tim Storey. If today sparked your courage or helped you understand why you're created for success, I invite you to carry that miracle mentality forward. Visit me at timstorey.com. That's story with an EY on the end. Until next time, walk by faith, embrace possibility, and create your own comeback story.